everyone, myself Dr. M. Lakshmi Prasad, working as an associate professor in the Department of Data Science, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. In this video, I'm going to discuss about various concepts of SPSS. So, what is SPSS? So, SPSS is originally called as a statistical package for the social sciences, but now it is going to be stands for statistical product and service solutions. So, which is also known by the name PSW, that means predictive analysis uh, analytics software. So it is a software that is going to be used for the data analysis in business research, and it can be used for processing queries and reporting the tables and graphs, and then analyzing means, chi-square regression, and much more. So SPSS, so already you know that. So SPSS is nothing but the statistical package for the social sciences, and it is now going to stand for statistical product and service solutions, which is also known by predictive analytics software. And it is the software which is going to be used for data analysis in business research. And so mainly this software is going to be used for processing queries or questionnaires, and then reporting tables and graphs and analyzing. That means the means we can able to analyze, and then chi-square and regression and much more. So history is nothing but it is going to be introduced in 1968, and it was originally developed to facilitate the statistical analysis in social sciences. And earlier versions is used to run the mainframe computers. And 2009, the IBM announced that it was acquiring SPSS for 1.2 billion dollars in cash. And the current versions are officially named as IBM SPSS Statistics. So when it comes to history of this, the SPSS, so it is going to be introduced in 1968 itself, and it was going to be originally developed to facilitate the statistical analysis in social sciences. And earlier versions are going to be designed to run on mainframe computers. And so in July 2028, so in 2009, in July 2009, so the IBM going to be announced that it was going to be acquiring a SPSS for more than $1.2 billion in cash as well. And the current versions are officially named it as IBM SPSS Statistics. So SPSS is nothing but the leading worldwide provider of predictive analytics softwares and solutions, and it should be a software house headquartered in Chicago and then incorporated in Delaware. And the company was started in 1968 itself by Norman Nye and Delhi Bent and Holly like Tex Hull. And today now this SPSS has more than 250,000 customers worldwide, and it is going to be served by more than 1,200 employees in 60 countries. So that much popular is going on nowadays, this SPSS. And so it should be started in 1968, and nowadays 250,000 customers also going to be used worldwide, and should be served by more than 1,200 employees are working in 60 countries. So this should be the looking of this SPSS IBM company. And so general, when it comes to general capabilities, that so a lot of great features are going to be evolved in SPSS, and which can also be import data from different sources such as Microsoft Excel and SAS, and should also provide the analysis tools to generate reports, charts, plots, and descriptive statistics, and run advanced statistical analysis. So in addition to the user interface, which is going to provide a common syntax that simplify the certain things such as running the repetitive tasks. So some of the features of this SPSS would be that, so it is going to have that different types of sources that is available, such as Microsoft Excel, SAS, and we should also provide the analysis tools to generate the reports and charts and plots and descriptive statistics, which can also run advanced statistical analysis also. So in addition to that, the user interface, so which is going to provide a command syntax that can simplify certain things, that is nothing but running the competitive task also. So some of the basic operations in SPSS will be that, so variable entry, so adding or deleting a variable, and data entry is nothing but adding or deleting the data, saving the data, importing the data from Excel file, and checking the data entered, sorting the data, and transforming the data. So these are the some of the basic operations what we can able to perform in this SPSS. So variable entry, so nothing but where you can able to add the variable or you can able to delete the variable, and data entry means where you can able to adding and deleting the data. So saving the data is the another thing. So we're able to save the data what I have typed in the SPSS, and importing the data from the Excel. So we're able to incorporate the data what is already exists in Excel, so into SPSS also. And checking the data entry is also done, and you can also perform the sorting the data and then transforming the data as well. So variable is nothing but a concept which can take on a different quantitative values, so is nothing but a variable. And so some of the variables would like something I can able to find from the second hand bike itself. So what should be the brand of the bike, and what should be the type, age, condition, so what should be in excellent condition, good or poor, and then what's price. So like this I can able to define the variables from an example. So the concept which is can able to take the different quantitative values, so which is going to have quantitative value, that is nothing but a variable. So like if I'm going to take the second hand bike, what should be the type, color, brand, age, condition, price, etc. So some of the different types of variables will be have dichotomous variable and then continuous variable. So dichotomous variable is nothing but which is going to have only two values only, like yes or no or male or female. And some continuous variables means like income. So income is going to be changed from year to year, and some age. So age is also going to be changed year to year. Test score, so is going to be vary from some exams to exams like that. So this kind of the things, the values whose variable values are going to be changed, that and all will becomes under this continuous variable. And these variables may also can take any value within the given range, and in some of the cases as an infinite set. So like, so the variables are going to be classified into two types. So first thing is the dichotomy variables and then continuous variables. So dichotomous variables are able to have only the two values such as x or no and then male or female itself, and then for continuous variable it should be income, age, and then test score. So there are different types of variables apart from that, like independent variable, dependent variable, moderating variable, extraneous variable. So these are the some of the different types of variables, like independent, dependent, moderating, and extraneous. So measuring scales. So what kind of measuring scales we have for that variable should be the process of assigning the numbers to objects in such a way that some properties of the objects are faithfully represented by specific properties of the numbers. And so the types of scales will be nominal, ordinal, and scale. So again, this ratio scale is further divided into interval scale and ratio scale. So like this, we're going to have some of the different types of scale measurement scales that are available. And So the process of assigning numbers to objects in such a way that so the specific properties of the objects are faithfully represented by specific properties of numbers. So normally the types of scales will be of different types like nominal, ordinal, and then scale like interval and ratio scale. So like this, we're going to have different types of measurement scales for each type of categories also. Let's see one by one. So very first thing should be nominal one. So nominal in the sense we're able to nationality, race, gender. So normally it should be based on the concept of two category variables called dichotomous variable. So normally all the dichotomous variable comes under nominal variable. So nationality, so it may be an Indian or NRI like this, and racing, and then gender. So gender is also male or female like this. So all this window comes in dichotomous. And second one is that nominals, ordinals, right? So ordinal in the sense which is where it should be the rank order in terms of create criterion from highest to lowest. Suppose the variable what I'm going to have, so that thing can able to represent the form of an order or priority, first, second, through like this. So those type of things will be considered ordinal one. So the rank order in terms of the criterion from the highest to lowest will be treated as an ordinal scale. So like example knowledge, so skills and like more than, less than, equal to and all. So high knowledge, moderate, and then low skills, high skills, low skills, and moderate skills. So like this, if we are going to classify, so then it all will comes under the ordinal scale. So interval or ratio scales are is that example age, income, and speed. So based on the arithmetic qualities and have a fixed 0 point, right? So interval or ratio scale means the age, income, and then speed. So it should be the based on arithmetic qualities that have a fixed 0 point. So the example here, so nominal. So nominal in the sense the numbers and assigned to a runners. So like first, second, and third. On ordinal means uh, rank order of for the winners, like first place, second place, and third place, like this. An interval, so that should be the performance rating on scale. So what should be the performance rating like? So for the third place person it should be 8.2, for the first place it should be 9.6, and second place it should be 9.2. So the rating and all will comes under the interval scale. And next one is that ratio scale, that should be the time to be finished in seconds. So how much the person is going to be finishing for obtaining the first place, that should be 13.4 seconds, and for the second place he got 14.1, and then third place he got 15.2. So like this we can able to classify the variables into different types like nominal scale, variables, ordinal scale, ratio scale, and interval scale. Nominal in the sense just the numbers what I'm giving to the person, so that should be nominal. Ordinals means it should be rank order, so first, second, and then third. And for the interval where the performance rating of the skill, like where the values are going to be assigned to the persons, that should be the interval skill. And ratio skill means which should be depend on the time in seconds, whatever it may be, and that will be considered as the ratio scale. So see some of the primary scales like nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio scale. So here, so nominal, if we I'm going to take, so the basic characteristic should be numbers, identify and classify the objects. And ordinal means the numbers that indicate the relative portion of the objects, but not the magnitude. or the differences between them. An interval means the differences between the objects, and ratio scale means 0 point is fixed ratio scale values that can be compared. So like this, we can have some of the different types of characteristics or different types of scales. So just now what I said, that should be gender and the numbering of football players. So that should be comes under nominal one. And so similarly, the quality rankings of the teams in the tournament should be considered as the ordinal one. And ratio means it should be example of temperature, that should be in Fahrenheit. And ratio level means should be the length and height of the person, that should be considered as the ratio scale. So some of the permissible statistics should be of two types, right? Descriptive and inferential. So if I'm going to take this nominal one, so for this nominal, the descriptive will be percentages and modes, and for the inferential, the nominal should be chi-square and the binomial test. So these are the some of the statistics work and able to perform on the particular reference. Particular particular scale of the variable. So similarly, if I'm going to go for the ordinal one, so what kind of descriptive statistic or performance should be percentile and the median. But here, if I'm going for inferential, it should be rank order and then correlation, Friedman, and ANOVA. So these are the some of the different types of statistics measures we're going to perform on the ordinal one. And for the interval, so it should be the product moment. And for the descriptive, we're able to apply measures like range, median, and standard deviation. So these are the things we're able to perform on the interval scale. And product moment should be the inferential statistic of the interval scale. For the ratio, so we're able to perform the geometric mean and harmonic mean. So these two are going to perform on the descriptive ratio scale, whereas inferential we are able to perform the coefficient of the variance. So these are the some of the different measurements we're able to perform on that one. Okay, so different types of measurements what can able to perform on that. So next one, the choice of scales in SPSS. So normally the default is the scale which can able to reverse an interval or ratio level of measurement. Normally you can able to choose nominal for the categorical data, and for the ordinal it should be if the data is going to be involved the rankings, then it should be that ordinal data for the ordinal values. Okay, so the choice of scale should also be different based on the values what I'm going to get it. So like normally it should normally we're going to follow the interval and ratio scale measurements. So for the categorical data we can able to follow the nominal one, whereas for this rankings we're able to use for the ordinal. So next one, so we are going to see what are the different types of windows that are available in SPSS software. So normally this window is going to be viewed and different types of views we are having, that should be data view and then variable view. So we're able to see the list of variables, and then the data we're able to see the data what is there in that SPSS. And output viewer means we're able to see the output of that one. And pivot element table is there, and then chart editor is there, and text output editor, and then syntax editor. So like this we are going to have different types of windows, so that is available in SPSS software. So in this one, so if I want to see, I can able to see the data, variable, and output viewer. So these are the extra things where you can able to implement, like pivot editor, table editor. Suppose if I'm going to design the charts, so that should be the chart editor what we're going to have, and text output editor. So the output will also be viewed in the form of the text, and syntax editor. Suppose if there is a change in the syntax, we are able to go for this syntax editor and then be able to do that. So these are the some of this view of that one. So what I'm going to show on the screen, that should be the number of respondents or questionnaires or the schedules, whatever it may be. And so the data view, so variable view. So if I'm going to go for the data view, then we can able to see where I can able to done. So entering, editing, and then display. So like this, I can able to do the things in data. So variable view, so it is another kind of view. So we can able to see different types of variables like programming and then defining and then qualitative. So these are the three different types of variables we are able to point out to the questions. So the programming variable view, what are there? So we and then defining of the variable and the qualitative value of that variable. So in left hand side, what I'm going to say that should be output panning, and then uh, we're able to see the outputs outline of the panel, and then navigate outputs and then highlighting outputs. So this and all will be appearing on the left side of this screen. And suppose if I'm going to see this, the tables, the view what I'm going to show over here. So that should be the pivot table editor, or it may be text output editor or chart editor. So how you can able to do that means open automatically if you're going to run the procedure, and then you can also display the statistical results and graphs and save it for the future use. So like this, the content view what is the left hand side that should be outlined on the panel. So we're able to see the navigate the output and then highlighting the output. And for the right side, what is there? That should be what element text output editor and then chart editor. So here it should be what we're going to get. That should be pivot table editor, which should be in the form of the text edit also. So in the pivot table editor, so we're going to see what are the uh, variables I'm taking and what are the corresponding rows of the particular row. We can also able to obtain here. And chart editor, so this is the other thing where you can able to see the charts of the SPSS. Like so after clicking this double click, so can able to what kind of chart it is based on the options what I'm going to choose on this one. So here we're going to have some of the different types of text editing options we're going to have. So we're able to mention the name of that x-axis name and what should be the name of the y-axis, and so we can also define this values and how much it should be, like you can also specify if you want this. Okay, so for that we're going to have some of the content as well. So the values also can also some of the editing options are also can able to perform. And syntax editor is there. Suppose I'm going to add some syntax to the variable, and then we're able to see here. So this is the pointing where the syntax if I'm going to modify it, and suppose for the statistics and gender, and for what is the values for the particular pivot chart table like this. So how this one can be done? See here you can able to do manually. So start with the data editor, and there should be two types of tabs that are going to have at the bottom. So that should be data view and then variable view, and we can able to have two types of two ways that is going to be entering the data. So first thing should be starting with the data view and just start typing, and then start with the variable view and then define the variables first. So like this we are going to manually entering the data into different types of views that is going to be available in the data editor. So first this should be the first thing we're able to start the with the data view and just start typing it, and then start with the variable view where we're able to define the variable values first. So like this, we're going to have some of the different parts and content of this SPSS. So in this video, what I covered is what should be the SPSS. So SPSS is nothing but a statistical package for the social sciences, and it should be used for the statistical product and service solution. Uh, so it is going to be it is a software that is going to be used for analysis in the business research, and it should be used for processing the queries and reporting in tables, graphs, analyzing the various types of measures like mean, size, square, regression, and much more. So history of that should be 1968, and should be developed. We're unable to use different types of versions also available and officially released by IBM in 2009 itself. So this should be invented by this Norman Nye, and then these are the people colleagues of that one of him were able to use, and there should be 2,50,000 customers are going to be used worldwide, and there should be 1,200 employees are there. So this should be the looking of SPSS, officially introduced by IBM, and what are the various features. So tools what we're going to have, that should be reports, charts, and then descriptive statistics. So some of the basic operations what I can able to perform in SPSS should be variable entry, data entry, saving the data, importing the data from the Excel, and checking the data, and sorting the data, transforming the data. So variable is nothing but a concept which is going to have different types of quantitative values. That should be the variable. And then suppose if I'm going to take any kind of example, so the data values what I am able to take for that example, like brand, type, age, condition, price, like this way, so that we can able to define the variables from that. Normally, these variables would be of different types. Normally, dichotomous variable and then continuous variable. So, dichotomous nothing but we're able to handle only the two values, and continuous means it can able to take only the two uh, continuous variable based on the time itself. So, some other types of variables what are going to have should be independent variable, dependent variable, moderating, and then extraneous variable. So we are going to have some of the measurement scales that is going to have. So some of the scales with the nominal, ordinal, and the ratio scale. Again, this ratio will be of two types, like ratio and then interval. So what should be the nominal? So nominal example should be nationality, race, and condition. That means all the dichotomous variable will comes under the nominal one. And ordinal means where one should be have rank order from highest to lowest. And then interval ratio means age, income, speed. So it should be on based on arithmetic quantities also. And the scale what are going to have should be nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio scale. So nominal means so number assigned to be runners, and ordinal means so the rank order thing will be considered the ordinal one, and interval means where should be take the performance index, and ratio scale means the values that should be time means, so we can able to take it as this time in seconds I'm taking. And then so what kind of measures we can able to perform on these different types of nominal, ratio, scale data. So for that, so the nominal one we can able to perform percentages, mode, size square, and binomial tests. So these are the things where can able to be applied on nominal one. So similarly, if I'm going to take the ordinal one, so percentage, median, rank order, collation, and ANOVA. So these are the things where I'm able to perform on ordinal one. And suppose if it is the ordinal interval one, so where can able to take some of the measures like range, median, standard deviation, product movement, like this. So these are the things where I'm able to perform on the interval one. And for the ratio scale, so it should be geometric mean, harmonic mean, and coefficient of variance. So these are the things we are able to perform on the ratio thing. So choice of scales in SPSS, that should be just now what I said, that should be nominal, ordinal, ratio scale, and original. Ordinal should be for the rank order. So some of the types of windows what are going to have should be data view, variable view, output view, and then pivot table, editor, chart editor, text output editor, and syntax editor. So these are some of the different types of views that are going to have in Windows. So this should be the overall view of the SPSS software. We're going to be able to have data view. So it should be we're going to be able to done entering, editing, and displaying the data. And next one should be the variable view. We're going to have some of the programming variables or defining variables and quantitative variable that is going to take the values that one should be take. And so this should be this control panel of that SPSS, where the left side should be the outline panning. So we're able to navigate the output and highlight the output, and then the right side, what is there here, that should be this pivot table editor text, and this should be the pivot table editor. What is there from by clicking the right click on that one, and for this should be the chart editor as well. So we're able to show different kinds of charts. And then you can also edit to perform some of that content. And this should be the some of the syntax editors. Suppose if I want to like to modify the content of this for rectifying the syntax, then you can go for this. So normally you can able to perform everything should be in the form of manual data entry. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.